Quick, swallow it before we start.
Try it, it's all stuck in my tooth.
Swallow. Rinse and swallow.
I'll gargle in a minute to laugh.
Have you finished?
Yes,
Is it right now?
Finished,
you can do it. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Flooring Models Thursday night show. Here we are with you live on the 6th of May, 2021. After quite a busy week. Lovely evening here, I have to say. The sun is streaming in. All good over there, guys? How's it going?
It's raining.
Is it raining? Seriously?
Yeah, do you know what? It's been bright sunshine all day today. It's been really nice. Until I went on the school run. Stood outside waiting for thing, it absolutely chucked it down. Oh, that's typical. But no, it's not great.
Yeah, it's not warm. It's definitely colder for this time of year at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. When's it going to warm up a little bit?
Yeah, I must admit, they're saying it's supposed to get cold again, isn't it, next week?
Oh, we had snow.
Did you?
Yesterday, again, when Leslie was on school run, picking Lydia up, it snowed.
Crazy.
Just wrong. Anyway, enough of the weather.
Yes, never mind. Yes, I must admit, it's very unseasonal. Very, very cold, very horrible, but it's been dry and sunny, weirdly. But that means frost, which isn't good for the plants.
No.
Anyway, never mind. John, how are you? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah. Not been up to an awful lot, but...
He was the other night, I'll tell you. He was in a panic, scratching around on his floor.
What did he drop?
He's crawling round.
Yes.
A vital part pinged.
Oh. Was it
and I heard
photo
it
etch?
bounce. I didn't have any idea where it went.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? It's the false economy of hearing it land. Because I've had it. You hear it and you hear it land and you think it's got to be close. And it's like, it might have bounced, though. That's the trouble you have. So, and I can sympathise with you because, to be honest, a little bit of this engine on the front here, I had it all here yesterday, came down this morning, laid it all out, and I'm a bit missing. And I spent probably a good sort of 10 minutes, hands and knees, going around smoothing, see if it pops up, doing all the usual tricks for it. Couldn't find it anywhere. And actually what it had done, somehow I must have dropped it off of here. It had gone on the cushion of my seat and then down between the side of the seat and the cushion. And it was in there. And it was like, Luckily, though, it was got, it's a nice, quite a chunk and it's in this colour. So it stood out quite easily. But if it had been a black bit, I probably wouldn't have spotted it or something.
Yeah, you know? I had a panic at the weekend, an undercarriage door.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember taking it off the sprue, so I went to the sprue and I thought, well, it's not there. So I looked through all the sprues, and in the end, after about half an hour, I just happened to peer into the bin behind me, and it was in the bottom of the bin.
Oh.
How it got there, I don't know.
Well, this is it. that is usually the thing. But as the guys are saying now, I agree, it's that thing. When you're looking for it, you never find the part. But many a time I've done it where I've gone, I know it's here. And to be honest, there was one of these little bits of photo etch which goes on for the hinges and that on the wings of this. And I was like, I know it's here because I haven't moved and it's here, but I can't find it. So I'm going to carry on. And lo and behold, I found it. It was literally just here on the edge. And it's that thing. But when I was looking for it, couldn't find it. Stopped looking, turns up. And the amount of times, like I said before, where I've scratch built something and I've done it and you got it and you think, well, it's close enough. And I stick it onto the model. And then the next day I find the part.
No, like, normally brilliant. You find it when you've lost a part for another kit and you're looking for that and then you find the part you lost months ago. It seems to just turn up.
I must admit, the worst one for that, though, was when I changed these from the old wooden racks to the plastic ones here. I lost the refueling door off the F14, the 132nd one. So I had to make a new one and sort of shape it. And it was right pain in the ass, and I did it. And then when I changed these out, I found it had gone underneath. It had obviously fallen off and slid and gone under the wood. So when I lifted it off, it's there glaringly looking at me. And it was like brilliant. Definitely.
The joys of the Hobbit.
It is. It's part of the hobby, isn't it? Definitely. Good evening to everybody who is in live chat. Lovely to have you all down in here as well. And I'm not going to read out names because even I'm only up to the C's on the list on the side. So lots of you in there tonight. We trust you're all doing very well. One thing I will say, just to get it completely out of the way, obviously for what we were talking about on Tuesday, I don't really want to talk about it on tonight's show, purely because obviously this is open to the public. To Joe Public, and that's something between us and the membership and all the rest of it. So if there's anything like that, we will skim over it. We won't talk about it on the show, but needless to say, thank you very much for all the feedback, all the ideas. As I say, I don't think we've ever had like over sort of 60 replies to one comment before. But definitely got lots of you talking on that one, and say loads of good ideas. I'm still in talks. It's developing and changing all the time. Spoke to them, to be honest, me and Matt were gassing this morning, and next thing you know, I'll get an email through from them with another offer and various bits and pieces. So as soon as we get this sort of sorted out, I will then take a little bit of a break. There's no panic to taking a decision on this one, to think about it, mull it over, but we've got 2 or 3 options at the moment which are good options to go with, and then obviously I'll make a decision probably latter end of next week or something else like that. But thank you very much for everyone's feedback, much appreciated. And if you don't know what you're talking about, there you go.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely. But thank you. It's been amazing. The response is that thing. Sometimes I think no one's actually watching. And then you do something like that and it's like, poof, it just explodes. So, but yes, big thank you on that one. Anyway, do you want to show us what you've been working on? Shall I start whilst you two grab what you've been doing?
Well, yeah, mine's not really here, but
all right, okay. I'll kick
well, it
off.
is. No, I can show you literally what I've been doing this afternoon because I haven't had much time to do anything else.
Oh, go on then, show us yours. Oh, wow, that's looking good. Who is it? Is it someone famous?
No, it's just
it's a man in a can.
It's a man in a can, literally, from El Greco Miniatures, which is down your neck of the woods. They are in Cornwall.
Yes, yeah.
I've had it knocking around, to be honest, for ages, and I thought, well, I'll do a bit of practicing with my skin tone. So I've literally been playing with Gen 3, and I tell you what, actually, I've only used the white. I'm getting into these.
Is this a good thing? Because again, I've got one here, and I say I'm not a figure painter. I just think it looks very posh in the gold.
Right. Well, they are for figure painting. I don't think they're going to translate. Well, they probably will. They are going to translate to other things, but I think they are mainly for figures and stuff like that because of how the acrylic is. But it's very silky.
Yes.
If you can use that, it's very like an oil paint, though it's an acrylic.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, I've just been using a bit of white for the highlighting, and it's obviously quite thick. I'll just show you my wet palette, and you can see there's the lump of it there, and then that's obviously just normal. One of them's a Vallejo, so you can see the thickness compared to the others. But yeah, I'm actually quite liking them, to be honest. So
how do they differ from the normal oils then?
Oils?
The normal sort of 502s.
Because these are acrylics.
Oh right, okay.
These are pure acrylics. These are proper artist grade acrylics, from what I can gather.
I see.
High quality acrylics.
Oh yeah, I'm reading it now. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. But then they come in the little thingy tubes. But I presume if you go to an artist shop, you can get an equivalent of somebody's. This is obviously a 502's version of. So
are you thinking like this could be a very good substitute or one to go along with the model colours?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it works fine with any of the like Vallejo, obviously the Gen 3. Probably life colour because it's a proper an acrylic, so it's going to mix with them, and I've been doing it, so I know it works. As I say, because I've been using it on the skin tones in here, because it's mixed. It's mixed into this.
Yes.
This is the lighter one. It's kind of merged now, but for doing the highlights, and it's nice. The problem with acrylics is they don't blend very well because they dry so fast.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a technique to using them which I'm trying to teach myself, but these seem to stay a bit. Like I say, silky, so they're a bit easier to blend. Talking to my hands here, look. So, like I say, he's a bit jaundiced at the minute. He needs a bit of life. I've been trying to put a bit of colour into him. I don't know, my camera's killed him a little bit, but not probably a figure I'd normally be interested in, if I'm honest, but I've quite enjoyed it. He's coming out all right, to be honest. So, yeah, that was like a couple of hours. If that, this afternoon or tea time.
Yeah.
just to see. I've not done much on the Lank because, let me just change my camera back. And well, obviously, as you know, because you've only gone through, I've actually ordered the set I need that I mentioned on Wednesday, want it for the cockpit, and I need that bit to carry on.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But doing this figure.
Yes.
And now I'm happy now with a skin tone, and I've got a bit of a down pat. I've got an idea to actually do a video now, because people have asked, and I keep saying, yeah, I'll do it. But I think it's more a confidence thing for me of actually getting a formula I like.
Yeah.
And I think that is not too shoddy, to be honest. Even if I do say so myself.
Yes.
Because John will vouch for this. I don't know, you might have seen it in the background like last week or the week before. I had a female figure.
Yeah.
With the,
quite literally a bust.
Yes, it's a bust of a woman. Yes.
I have painted her 5 times now.
Just to get the highlights right on the bust.
I keep cocking it up. I ain't even got to that part of her. It's just doing the face, and females are a different ballgame to painting males anyway. Because I've been doing some research and studying, because it's a lot softer. You need to do nice blends, or else they can look masculine. It's a bit of a minefield. But I get to one point, even I think John were on with me, weren't you? And I did say, oh look, I was quite happy with it. And then I did something completely messed it up. So I was like, right, start again. But I actually don't mind. I find it quite therapeutic just to sit there painting the same thing over and over again. So
fair enough.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Oh, very good. For me, I've been obviously today working on the old engine. So I've done the engine today. And so we've done the wiring on the front end there and gone through the motions of that. There is a video on this, be up tomorrow once I edit it. We've got this bit down the back here, which then will go in here. None of it's weathered yet. I need to do all the weathering on it. Is that the right way up? I don't know, whichever way this one goes up. Yes, it is that way. And that will go in there like that. But yes, so we've been doing the engine and the details there. Do you know what's funny? And we were talking about this a lot. On this camera, would you say this ring looks green?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It looks pretty green on this, but the reality is I'm looking at it here with my eyes, and it's blue. So I don't know if this is a light thing. Let me just grab a quick thing here. If it changes with the green. No, it's still quite greeny on there, but to me it's blue. So we were talking about how colours change of various things, but I took some photos of this earlier for doing some close-up stuff and bits and pieces. And again, it came out green. Yeah, I'm looking at it into my eyeballs, unless they really have gone out of sync. It looks green, but it's actually blue to my eyes.
I'll tell you what else does that, and to be honest, it's a very similar colour, is the Russian turquoise blue.
Yeah.
That looks totally different when you photograph it. Yeah. It looks really odd.
Yeah, it's definitely a real weird one, isn't it? Because some people are saying it's blue in chat. So there you go. On the chat there, put up if you think that looks more blue or green. Because it could be one of those things. So the only thing that makes me think of it is years ago, a guy I know had a Mondeo, and on the logbook it said it was blue, but to me it was green. But he said, no, it looks blue. And I'm thinking, is it like one of those magic dresses? You know, the ones where you see it in different colours that some people see it? So green, blue, blue. See, look, people on there saying it's green and blue. It's one of those weird things, isn't it?
It's how
yeah,
those different people read it, isn't it? Green and blue. But that's definitely on my monitor looks green.
Yeah, and to me it looks green. But as I look at it here, it's bright blue. So it's a bit like weirdy colours that we're talking about. But anyway, that will be sort of up for you tomorrow. As I say, I don't know if you saw it. We've done the wheel wells and everything. They're all working absolutely fine now. This is done, the wing sections. If you've seen the part on Monday, we've done all the wing tips. They're all finished off. They're all working. We've got the fuselage together, all ready to go through. And obviously we've got to go through the motions of doing the cockpit next and going through with that one. So that's literally how that particular one's been going at the moment. So as I say, I've got lots of editing to catch up on, as in tons of it, to be honest. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow to go through all of this. So that was me. And John, that's looking big.
Yeah, this is pretty much ready for primer. I've got a few, there's some photo etch, like veins that go on the back. They're like, they're not vortex generators, but they go on the back. I've got to put them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the seam work's done, all the reviviting, Rescribing's done. And
Very nice.
undercarriage is starting to go in. This is one of the bits that I pinged off yesterday.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it wasn't very important, obviously. It just fixes the undercarriage. So it's a bit of a panic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's soon going to be in paint. So it is coming along.
Very nice.
It's taken a little bit longer than I planned, I must admit. But I'm at that stage now where I'm not going to rush it.
No.
Just for the sake of getting it done.
No, absolutely. And as I say, she's a big old lump. And as I say, with everything going on there, with all your bits and pieces still to go, be very impressive once it's done.
Hopefully.
It will be very, very nice. Right, okie dokie then, guys. So if we pop over, we can see what we are up to, or what you guys have been up to that we found this week. So starting off, we have a Brazilian, because we all like a nice Brazilian, Skyhawk in flight as well. Very nice. This is by Sean. This is the Great Hasegawa kit of the A4M Skyhawk. Very, very nice indeed.
Come out well, hasn't it?
Doesn't
Where does Sean live?
Don't know actually. Where does Sean live? He's somewhere in the EU. I think.
Oh, right. I was going to say.
I won't drop him in it by clicking on his credentials and seeing what he's up to. But yes,
Just
I was going to say that doesn't
that's
look like Basingstoke, does it?
Eh?
Not many people have a Dakin air conditioning unit strapped to the side of their house in that part of the
I
world.
was about to say, looking at the background, that's definitely not in the UK.
Is that not Bolton?
Well, you know, Blackpool.
That's it, definitely. But very, very nice. Cool job on that. And what's nice as well is, I know we take the mick a lot of time, we say grey's boring, but that's actually a really nice scheme. I like the way it's got the wavy scheme with it and all the rest of it, because most of us do the Skyhawks in the standard, like, you know, light gold grey with a white scheme. But it's quite nice to see it in the grey. Very nice. And obviously with the little plinth as well.
Yeah, it's come out well. Really
Good
nice.
job.
I've got to say, he's very brave, because if that was me, I know I'd turn around and do something else, and that would be tipped right over the edge of that ledge.
Yeah, it's flown away. So, but no, really nice job on that one. Saw that one, took my eye. Very, very good job right the way through. Next up, we have, this is Michael, and amazing job. And as I say, it's quite nice when you do the scale thing next to it. And let's face it, I know people are going to say that, you know, with the cockpit and stuff like that, it's a little bit in the missiles. But generally, working on something that small, that's the key to this. And painting and weathering, doing the different bits and pieces is not an easy thing. Not when you think, you know, that is what, about less than 10 centimetres?
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
So, great job on that one. Little Polish.
Is that the Academy one?
I don't know. Is it? Or is it the... Yes, it is. Yeah, the Academy one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great job on a little kit.
Yeah, for that small. Definitely.
Just goes to show you don't have to go huge scales. Very nice. Good job on that one. We've got Graham has done the, this is the Revel 48 scale F3 Tornado. Very nice.
Yeah, I do like the F3. There's something about the F3. I like it.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah. I think the F3 is a nicer looking jet. I always think that the GRs are more of a, how do you say this being polite-ish? These are like the sleek runners, and the other ones look like they're more like fullbacks. They're a bit more blunt and chunky. But very, very nice indeed. Good job on that. Nicely done. And next up, we've got something totally different. This is Ed, and he's done that. Oh god, what do they call these series? I can't remember what they call them now. They got
Is it Macross?
Yes, the Macross series, 72nd Hasegawa. So look, it's like a flanker on steroids.
Different, isn't it?
That's quite cool, actually.
We was only discussing these the other day, wasn't it? And then this one popped up. Literally, we were talking about these the other day, and then this one's popped up. Again, nicely painted with the weathering and everything that goes into it as well. Something
So
very,
that's a
very...
proper kit and not a kit bash?
No, it's a proper kit.
Right.
Yeah.
Proper Macross kit.
The Tomcat isn't. But
hey, that's not a proper plane though, is it?
No. So, but no, really nice job on that one. as far as I know. It's got the completed
different.
build log and all the rest of it down there as well, but it's Hasegawa. But it's 72nd scale as well. It doesn't look 72nd. I thought it was 48th when I first saw it. So, but no.
Yes.
Very, very cool indeed. Good job on that one. And next up, we got James. This is the 48 scale kinetic AV8A Harrier, the Marines marking. Very nice. Cool job.
Yeah.
It's always something about a Harrier, isn't it? It's that classic. Very nice indeed.
It's a nice kit into that kinetic one.
Yes, it is. Cool kit. Very, very nice. Good job on that one. And next up, we've got, I don't think we've shown this before, but I don't know. But Ian has done the little tank, which is Gruber's little tank, which is the Tamiya 35th scale one. There we go. And
he's got the policeman.
Yeah, is this your boom in the vehicle? So for everybody who's never seen a lower low, it makes no sense to anyone. But there you go. If you've ever seen a lower low, you'll know this.
Everybody's seen a lower low, hasn't they?
I think so.
It's Crabtree, isn't it, the policeman?
That was it, Mr. Crabtree, yes. With his fantastic French.
Genius programme.
It was light years ahead of its time, that was. That was a stable thing for a Saturday night TV, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you just think that won't be able to be made now, probably?
No, yeah, it wouldn't be politically correct, would it?
Politically incorrect and stereotypical of...
Yeah, the Me Too movement would be right over that, wouldn't they?
Oh, it just, yeah. It just be above everybody, wouldn't it? The sense of humour.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's proper, yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's the era of Bullseye and all the rest of it. Right. Very good, though. Nicely done. But again, generally, just overall, nice with the water effects, with the actual cobbling, with the weathering onto those, let alone, obviously, nice job on the tank and with the figure painting as well. Very, very nice. Cool build.
Good job.
Okay, and last up today, just to remind you all, the review of the Meng 48 scale. I'm just going to say Hasegawa then, Christ. Meng Superbug. This is the Echo, the Pete Mitchell version. And so, yes, really nice kit. I have to say, we spoke about it. If you haven't seen the review already, you can see full details of it. It's got some great design little bits and pieces in there. It's definitely a little bit of upgrade to the Hasegawa kit. It goes together extremely similar to the Hasegawa kit. But to be honest, like we said before, your limitations on the way things get molded these days, it pretty much all go together. But you see the details, very, very nice onto it right the way through. So, yeah. Very, very nice kit indeed. So the review of that one went up, and obviously it is available in the PM store along with everything else. But nice job, because the detailing in the wheel wells is very nice with these.
So as you can see, there's another way of moulding a Hornet, is there?
No,
there's no other way of moulding a.
No, it's a bit complex shaped underneath there with everything going on. So yeah. But generally, very nice job on that one. The cockpit's quite nice. So you get a nice bit of photo etch which covers that panel, which is very realistic on the real things. The clear parts, like we said, very, very clear. There is a centre seam. You can just about see it. It's like so fine. You can see it in there. I did the pause right on it. But like I said in the review, you could probably get away with not actually touching it if you're not into it in a big way. But nice clear instructions of the Meng, as always, as it goes through. And it's actually really nice. And again, you can do Top Gun with Pete Mitchell, captain.
Great.
I know.
That's definitely the one you're going to do.
Well, if you've seen the review, you'll know what I say about it. I won't say it here, clearly. There might be children watching. But the decals are done really nice because obviously they are cartograph, beautiful colouring and all the rest of it. So personally, I think I'll go along with Felix. Do my usual way of doing it. But there is some very nice touches with the kit as well. So if you want to have a look at that review, that went up today. And he's over in the review section, or it's on the forum and all the usual places, as always on those. So yes, good job, everyone. There we go. We all okay in there? Are we all good in chat still?
Yeah.
Oh, look. Are they all now probably on YouTube looking for hello?
Yeah.
Probably. Right, shall we jump straight into the questions? Because we know we've got a few.
Yes.
Apart from I've now lost the questions areas. Where are we? Questions. Live show questions. Live show questions. Thursday. into Thursday, and let me just go back. Okay, so first of all, we have Scott says, "Afternoon, chaps. Happy bank holiday weekend." I think he might have done this right as we just finished the other one. The normal wind and rain is on the way. It was. He's got the Orado, and a question for Andy. Which he's not here. Did we do this one last week? Is it just?
We have done one similar, and just I can kind of answer it in a way. Andy's got a resin canopies or clear pots. He's not using the kit ones, so
yes.
Because it was somebody answered it a couple of weeks ago, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm sure me and Andy. Yeah, we spoke about it in last week's show with somebody was saying about how the cockpit actually because it goes through. But he did. Yeah, he's gone down the other route, hasn't he? Gone with the resin.
Because I think if Andy says in the kit part, you see the tabs.
It's got little tabs for it to go together. Yeah, that's what he said.
But you see him still when it's done, don't you? And there's no way of removing them. So he's gone for a resin option from HPH, I think, isn't it? Who does the clear resin one. So, yeah, Andy's back on next week. He's back at work, so
yes,
fire it up again when he's back.
Yeah,
and
no problem.
All the way through it.
Blow by blow build. Also, guys, what's the closest AK that have for an F14A? Well, the F14A, if you're doing it in that one, is old school colours, in the real colours as we call them, and that would have been light gold grey, which is 26440. Would have been the one. So you could do a 16440 or a 36, as in gloss satin or red matte, whichever way you want to do it. So that's the one you do. Say you've got the dark and the light ghost greys for the Tamiya Black Knights. That would have been for the B and the later ones, the Ds, and obviously not that one, wherever it is over there now. The Hornets are all obviously in the more modern scheme. So what happened was that I can't remember exactly when the year they changed them, but they changed over from what we call the high vis color scheme with the white bellies with the light gold grey tops to being low vis, and they went down the road of using light and dark ghost grey. Some of the Tomcats had other colours in there, which was what, 274 is it, or whatever it is, which is a funny blue I call Tomcat blue, in there as well. So if you go through, we have got them because they are fully in the range. So if you go over to the PM store, you can look through the list and you can see them down in there. So yes.
Well, if he's doing an A, he wants gold grey.
You want the gold grey and white scheme, because I think all of the goes was it, because the B was in the transition period between the two, I think.
Yeah.
So yes. Phil Zero is an interesting kit, and with with its insert bits and movable parts. Are all the Tamiya 32nd World War aircraft the same way? I once did their 32nd Phantom and didn't remember having any heavy clever assemblies. No, it doesn't. It depends which ones you're doing, because this one does have fully movable gear. It's retractable gear and it's all movable. Flaps, ailerons and everything works on it. You can obviously have the cowlings open, close and that. The Spitfire does, the Corsair does, the Mustang does, but the Mosquito doesn't. So the Mosquito can't have gear up and down. It's just fixed. But it does have posable flaps and they're all sort of mechanically moving and all the rest of it, but they're not quite as clever as that one. The F-16 as well is fixed. You can either go gear up or down or whichever it is, but that one has got like movable engine, so you can take the engine in and out the back end and various things. So yeah, the Tomcat isn't. So yes, it's some of them are, some of them aren't, but as I say, if you're going to go Spitfire, Mustang, Corsair, they are. The others are not. So yes, cool. As far as I know.
Can I just put in just for 2 minutes? Just answer Chris. Yes, Chris, I've got your photos and thank you very much. That's for the Lancaster because he sent me a PM.
Yeah.
Sorry I've not replied sooner. I'm on my own this week, as you know. So it's been a bit, And just one to Keith Waterhouse. Yes, it has been returned to me. It came yesterday, so we need to sort out getting it back to you. Your order. So there you go. That's it.
Cool.
Hope they were listening.
Yes. Right. Peter says, "Hi team, I have a question. We're about to get decals for an old kit. I have an Airfix 72nd Gloucester Javelin, and the decals are old and faded. The date of the kit. when it was made was 1994. So was wondering what decal company makes decent decals for older kits such as Gloucester Javelins in 72nd. I tried Googling where I can get decals, but was hit by a wall because the kit had been out of production for about 27 years. So was wondering, does PM Store sell aftermarket decals for Airfix Javelin 72nd scale? Well-known decal companies for it. If not, can one purchase the decals for it has the site that has up to date? Best regards. Right. Okay. So Hannants, just literally go to Hannants and put in Gloucester Javelin 72nd scale, and you will come up potentially with hundreds.
Print scale.
Eh?
I had a look last night. Print scale do 5 sets for Gloucester Javelins.
Right.
There you go.
There we go.
Print scale.
Print scale. There you go. That's your friend.
1/72 scale they are.
Yes. Peter in there says that Hannants have got a few. Hannants, yeah, that's it. Again, it's one of those things. Sometimes, if you're Googling generally, Hannants is a classic example, is that their site is awful for trying to search. So it doesn't make it into a search engine. But if you go to those particular places, pop in the details for it, you will come up with tons of stuff, all the aftermarket for it and everything else like that. And then you can just go through it. But yeah, so that's probably your best bet, to have a look around something like that. In the US, I don't know, because obviously it's a British aircraft. Tends to probably not be that popular over the pond. So you might want to look at probably a UK company for it. Andrew says, hi all, I've heard a lot about Mac valves, but don't know much about them. I take it it's a way of regulating the pressure. I've got the H&S Evolution and the Ultra Plus and an Iwata Neo and an Aztec 430 and an Aztec 470. Jesus, get rid of them. Could I ask you if I need one for each airbrush, or can I connect it to a quick release fitting for my airline and have it all in one? Yes, you can. So basically, a Mac valve. I haven't got one on mine, have I? No. Hold on, let me give you one. Here's.
There's one about an inline one on the airline.
Yeah, so I've got one here.
There's one up. It's upstairs.
So what we're talking about is one of these. So your airline technically comes in here, and then this will click straight into your said airbrush on a quick release. So you just pull this and it's on a quick release. This here is the micro air controller, or Mac valve. And basically it does, it's just a mini regulator, which again, we spoke about these on another show. This is quite a cheap one. So literally it's almost on and off fully within, I would say, a quarter of a turn. It's not that good. Other ones, you can do a full turn, and that is between nothing and full air pressure. So you can literally dial it on the fly, and that's the nice thing. So if you've got multiple airbrushes and none of them have got a Mac valve on, that's going to be the cheapest way. So you just plug your airline, comes into here. You know, you can either cut your one to put one on, or just buy a separate hose. You pop your airline into there, screw it on, and then that way you are good to go with your airbrush, and that way you just sit him on and off you go. You know, this one's got an inline one. This is this bit here, but this is the one just like that. Other airbrushes, we said before, have them like this little guy here. Oh, it is clean. Look at that. It's clean, everyone. But you have it on here. So consequently, my airline that I traditionally use these days is this one, and it hasn't actually got the valve on it because I can just plug straight in, because I don't need another Mac valve here as well as having one there. And because this one's got it and that one's got a built-in Mac valve as well, I don't actually need it. But one of these you can pick up. But again, somebody asked about the best ones and everything else. I am so far out the loop, I couldn't comment. But you do pay for what you get at the end of the day. So some of them literally within quarter of a turn, it's fully on or off. Others, you know, as you say, if you turn it 360 degrees, that's between on and off, or even finer. But yeah, that's what you want. And it will just fit on the bottom of all your airbrushes, literally just like that. That's what you want. That's what you need.
Worth the investment they are, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. You know, as I say, you can get some of them that come pre-done. I did have one. I don't know what I've done with it. I've lost my blue hose. I've got a blue line somewhere. Oh, I've done with it now. And it's actually got it built into it. So I'll put it down somewhere. So what you've actually got is a blue line that comes out on my other one, and it's got one of these into it. So it looks just like this one. Okay, but this is actually built into it. So there's no difference. So it's already been pre-done on the end of a braided cable for you, ready to go. So that's quite handy. So yes, but again, if you know, it's the thing we often talk about listening to your airbrush, and that's a classic example of like you pull the trigger and it's like doesn't sound right. So like on here, I do it from underneath. You just adjust it just a little bit, sounds better, and away you go. You just do the same on this. If you're faffing around with your compressor, you've got the entire length from your compressor itself along your hose. So if you've got a 10-foot hose, you've got a distortion and almost a delay in the pressure between your MAC valve and then obviously onto here. So it's not quite as fine. You want it as close to your actual airbrush as possible. So that way it's positive air just in this section. So obviously sometimes your actual hose can swell. That's why braided ones are quite good, because it stops the actual hose from swelling. Because I've shown it before, from a brand new clear pipe to a really old one, and it's almost twice the diameter. So it actually compresses, and it's false pressures and various things. So yeah. That's it. Are you all inline ones, you guys?
No, I've just got the one attached to my Procon here, and then the others ain't got one. I'm just on an airline and just keep my pressure and trigger. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got the one on my Procon, but my iWater, no, I haven't got one on.
Yeah. Cool. It's just I'm lazy and can't be bothered to bend down and keep changing it.
Yeah, I'm with you with that, but I think I have got one with an inline one, but it's like on and off. It's crap. It's not a very good one, so I ditched it, I think, and just put it back onto a normal quick release, and then just play with the pressure as and if I need it. So yeah, I don't know my pressure eye anyway, to be honest. So
yeah, that's right. You want it as low as you can.
Yeah.
Okay, Christopher says, dear Flory Models paint experts, Matt, this is you, clearly.
John.
I have a question concerning AK Extreme Metals. The other day, I was trying to weather it with extreme metal finish with oils. You know what's going to come here, don't you? Which resulted in a near disaster with Abteilung 502 oil seeming to damage the surface. When I tried to rub off the oils with odorless enamel thinners, oh dear. The shiny stuff became dark, almost black. Okay, so I'll just paraphrase a little bit here. Don't forget, extreme metals, which are these, are enamels. You're using enamel paints now with enamel thinners. So all you're doing is actually reactivating the enamel paint and wiping it off. You're actually mixing it together. So like we've always said about that thing about enamels don't go over enamels, lacquers don't like going over lacquers, especially when you're brushing around. So you need to have that something in between. So either put an acrylic coat between it, clear acrylic, and then put oils on top, and everything else you'll be absolutely fine. But what you're really doing is just activating again the bottom coat. So definitely not going to end well any day of the week.
Right.
Go on.
I don't agree with that.
Go on.
Well, I've done it. I've used enamels over enamels before and oils, and if they're given enough time to dry, you can't reactivate them. They're only solid. So how long is it before he started to do the oils? Then it's dry. Because I've used enamels over extreme metals, and I've had no problem with it. It's not peeled it off. It's not done that, but I've given it enough time to dry.
Yeah.
So lacquers are different. Lacquers are hot. But I've not really had it with enamels, I'll be honest. And I've done it on armour as well. Gone over an enamel sort of enamel wash sort of thing with oil paints to weather it. But I've given it enough time and I've not reactivated the wash underneath. So I don't know. I think that can be a bit of a myth, mate, to be honest. Again, I think it's drying times for me.
My worry would be if you've got thinners and it goes into panel lines and it's very wet in there, and then you're rubbing at it.
Is to agree with you one bit, is he actually soaking it in enamel thinners, or how's he cleaning it up? Do you know what I mean? Because if you're soaking it with enamel thinners, then that good chance. But I kind of unload and as little as possible just to clean up the excess, or if you're doing whatever you're doing with it. Because again, if you're reactivating oils, it doesn't take a lot of enamel thinner to proper reactivate it. You don't need it.
No, that's it.
And are you seeping all your oil out of your oils, the linseed oil, and having pure pigment again, which will speed up the drying time and it will dry harder.
Yes.
I don't know. There's many variables to it, but yeah.
Because to be honest, I've used when I did like the Bear Bomber and we did things like that, I used like neat oils for post shading. Never had a problem.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're just brushing that oils right the way over, and I'm brushing it quite heavily. But I wouldn't go in there with thinners, I don't think, because again, you just got that worry that perhaps if it's in a panel line, it might be still wet in that panel line because it's thicker. And
I've just had a thought. You know how we had a discussion earlier today? We'll do it.
All right, okay.
We'll myth buster. We are going to be the new
Mythbusters.
Model mythbusters. I can't even say it. Say it for me, John.
Mythbusters.
Model
Mythbusters. Yeah. The model Mythbusters. Yeah, can't do it.
Model Mythbusters.
You can't say it.
The modelling Mythbusters. That's it.
You could have that on a t-shirt.
Yes.
Talking of t-shirts, how do you like the new?
It's very posh, tops? Isn't it? That's it.
But, you know, merch coming to you soon. Contact Andy with your sizes. Polos and hoodies available.
Yes. So what we're really saying to Christopher, though, is drying times. Make sure it's completely gone off, cured. And as we know, enamels can take some amount of time to totally cure as well. They're going to be the slowest out of the entire paint family to go off, being sort of, you know, with oil-based stuff.
Yeah, I think, again, it's down to thinners as well. I know it says it's odourless stuff. So if that should be set, because that is proper mild, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if you're chucking white spirit around, then you might be in a bit of a different ball game, or that blooming Humbrol stuff in the tin.
Yeah.
But again, it's all variables. We'll bust it.
Yes, we will go through it and all the rest of it. But as I say, if you want to see it back, because obviously his question is how do you go about weathering extreme metals, then obviously have a look at the last two big ones I did with it was obviously the B17. So that's got oils onto it, and then it's sort of, you know, with streaking and various things. And on the Bear, because obviously that's another large project with it on there, but obviously using clay washes and oils and various things, you can do it. But it's just that thing of being safe and also not flooding. You know, one thing I wouldn't do, even if it was dry, but from my own personal sake, say I was doing like the B17, I don't think I would make up an oil wash and then use it as a panel line wash right over it, just in case it did start to eat into the surface below and the various things, you know, like I would do my clay wash, for instance.
But, you know, going back to the AK Extreme Metals, if you go and watch on one of their YouTube channels, they've got a thing on, and they literally chuck it in enamel thinners and wipe it on it, they bring it off.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just one of them, innit?
It is, but you know, and again, you're into that thing where it's what works for you. I'm not being funny. I've built shitloads of stuff with the extreme metals all over them. I've never had them do anything like a lot of people say, i.e. everyone says you can't mask over them. Never had a problem with that. People say you can't put washes over them. Never had a problem with that. You know, people say they're really fragile and they don't dry. Personally, I've never had any problems with any of that. It's what you get on with and the way you weather and do it as well. I've got my little trips I do, which I've shown in all the videos. So, you know, if you've got a different way of doing it, that's up to you, isn't it? So,
yeah,
go for it. Go for it, Christian. You'll be absolutely fine. Just let it dry. At the end of the day, the biggest piece of advice you can have for anything doesn't have to be enamels. Any paint surface is let it totally cure. Gas off. I know we spoke about it a lot over the last couple of years, but the amount of times people say it doesn't work. Like I get people like message me and they'll say, you've ruined my model with your wash because I put it on and it's just stuck in the surface. And it turns out literally it's been 10 minutes since they sprayed it and they put the wash straight on and they wonder why it's welded in. It's because it's stuck in the paint because the paint's not dry, you know, and that's my fault. But there you go. Anyway, different rant. Tony says, hi Phil and team, what is the best, most realistic colour for unprimed wing fabric pre-World War I aeroplanes? Crikey, was anything pre-World War One?
He's talking the Blériot.
What, or the Wright Flyer?
Or the Wright Flyer, yeah. Proper
either acrylic or lacquer.
Well, sail colour from Guns is a brilliant colour for because it's dope linen, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
The colour you want. Again, you can get away with deck tan. You might want to just warm it up a touch. with perhaps a touch of yellow or something. But really, the best one I think is sail colour.
Yeah, C45.
Yeah. What is it in aqueous?
Pass.
I don't know either. I can't remember. But yeah, sail colour's a really good one. It's got that dupe linen look. Because there was actually, who did the dupe linen paint? Somebody did one. Oh God, they've gone. The company's gone. Can't remember. Can't remember. But I know somebody did a dupe linen colour.
Yeah, because my one, didn't I use Deck Tan on that one? I can't remember if I did now. If I put it in here, this is the paint, and then we painted it with, hold on, what have we got there? Looks like a little bit of a funny mix. But I basically did the old Deck Tan and pre-shading with white underneath.
Dirt said it. CompuColor.
Oh, there we go.
Flow Kill, CompuColor. And I think MRP do linen. Yeah, as a clay dough.
85 is the aqueous version of that one.
Yeah.
Got you. But that's the one I did for the underside, is that sort of neat colour and everything. So I was quite happy how that turned out, to be honest, because I wanted this sort of fabricy, dirty look to it. And I thought it turned out quite well, really. I was quite happy with the way with that one when it went through. But yeah, so if you want to have a look at that one, just have a look at the Sopwith camel build. And that's how I did that one. So, okay. And Peter says, hi, Phil and team. I have a question about the actual colour schemes. Is the M2, the Zero? I'm currently working on 2 kits of the Zero in 72nd, one from Airfix, the other one from a house again. I recently purchased Tamiya's Imperial Japanese Navy Grey for the paint scheme, but it looks like the paint is darker in pigment than it should be, and can't find the actual colour photo of a Navy M6 M20.
So, hold on.
Yeah.
So, hold on. So if it looks darker than it should be, but he can't find a photo, how's that work?
I don't know.
Just saying.
Okay. The only black and white photos could be the plane's actual colour be flat white. Given the variant and the markings for the Imperial Japanese Navy version that was used in Pearl Harbor in 1941, could it have been more a flat white colour, given at the time the plane was sea-based on a carrier, and if it had to land in water, would have been better off being painted in sea grey?
Well, it was grey because it's camouflage, isn't it?
I would have thought so. I think they'd probably be more worried about being shot down than crashing, especially being a Zero in World War II. I'm building one as we speak. And to be honest with you, the way I sort of look at this, and don't take this the wrong way, but Tamiya being a Japanese company, and let's face it, they do tend to know what they're doing. They do it. There is... and again, you're into this thing about reality versus Hollywood, because there's lots of films, let's face it, we've all seen dogfighting scenes and Pearl Harbor and all these different films and that, but they are not genuine Zeros in a lot of cases. They're either Harvards painted up as Zeros, which are then painted white and black, and they do it that way, or they're different versions of and various things, or they're old restored warbirds that are back into it as well. I've been up to close, obviously, in Pearl Harbor, a Zero, and looked around it. And again, it's that thing. I think they bleach quite heavily. So obviously, this is the color scheme that obviously you're thinking of as well, which I'm doing as well, which is Tamiya's, which I've got it here, XF76, which was taken from an AS number back in the day. I think it was a can, which was AS29, and the way that they call it. And I'm pretty much going with what Tamiya say, because one is it looks right to me. And when you look at it in the box and all the rest of it with the box art, it's the same thing. Once it's got quite a bit of light on it, and obviously this is in a studio with studio lights on it and all the rest of it, it looks a lot lighter. And again, I think it may be somewhat down to scale. In 70-second scale, you might want to lighten it up a little bit. 30-second like this, you probably don't want to lighten it up. But I will probably give it a little bit of white in my mix anyway for mottling. purposes around it, so it will go lighter, but by the time it's had a wash, it's going to go darker again. So it will just be making that balance between the two. But as for painting them flat white, maybe you might want to do your versions of that one in sort of 70-second scale with the smaller ones to give the scale effect, I suppose, but definitely not on the bigger ones. And I must admit, you know, let's face it, if Tamiya had got that wrong as a colour, I think we would have all heard about that by everybody in Japan.
Their colours can be a bit iffy, but I would trust their Japanese colours.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, guns do Japanese paint as well.
Yeah.
I bet they're about the same.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't they be? It's like Humbrol making a bad colour of dark earth and dark green to me, or dark sea grey. They probably wouldn't do it. You know, you got, like you're saying, a scale effect. I agree with you, probably lighting it a touch for 70-second.
Yes.
But definitely not white.
No, I don't think white.
They were grey. They were a tone of grey. And the one thing with a Zero as well is you can weather them, because the paint weren't great, was it, on them? To be honest,
that's
it was the best quality stuff that was painted on the Japanese aeroplanes. So they were, you know, being out on a carrier and stuff, they would have weathered and get a bit beaten up. But yeah, I'd definitely stick with the Tamiya. What is it? XF? What?
Yeah, XF 67. But the thing is, again, I think it's that thing that they will weather. It's an aircraft. I think people tend to think of them that they're sat on the ground a lot. Don't forget, they spend a lot of the time at higher altitudes above clouds where it's always sunny, you know, and especially in the Pacific, it's a lot warmer. It's a different environment. They will fade. You know, ultraviolet light kills everything. So it will kill paint, especially, as we were saying, it's a lower quality paint, shall we say, because of war stuff. It generally don't put, you know, like airliner paint on them. It's a thinner coat as well, because it's weight and all the things. It will fade. So I'm going with that type of thing, to be honest. So yes, definitely. And to be honest, also I'm following my references from the one that I've seen as well, and I'm quite happy with that particular one. So again, personal choice. So we were saying, it's that thing we said a lot with colours. Everyone gets hung up about the colours of, as long as you're in the ballpark, your model, do it what you want to do. If you want to do it white, do it white. But, you know, as you say, personal choice.
Yeah.
Ian says, hi all, can I ask your opinions on the best method of chipping with AK real colour and lacquers? I have up until now had reasonable success chipping Tamiya acrylics. I use AK chipping or worn effects, which both respond okay to softening with water and getting the paint to move the chip. I'm assuming that real colours won't respond the same with water softening and lacquer, not at all. Any suggestions? Keep up the good work. Many thanks. Ian.
It's a myth. It works exactly fine.
Yes.
Totally fine.
And I did it on the live show as well.
The only thing you don't want to do is flood it on. Bury it, because then obviously it takes a bit to get through it, and it is hard to get off. And I think we've said it before, there is a bit of a lead time before the lacquer will sort of neutralise the chipping fluid.
Yeah.
But no, it chips fine. It actually chips better because of the nature of the lacquer paint. You get more finer in-scale chips as well.
You know, I must admit, we did it on when we did the live show a couple of weeks ago for the weekend, and I did the ISO container again, and that was with lacquers. And it takes a lot more poking at it, but like we're saying, I think it gives a more realistic chip, because it's quite hard work, and it's quite sharp little small chips. And that's with lacquers. With actually real colours, I thought that would be quite an easy one to chip through, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm just thinking as well, if you're struggling, is just to get a cocktail stick. Wet cup and just do a few fine scratches, because once you've broke the surface, the water will then penetrate under your paint to the obviously the hairspray or whatever you're using, chipping fluid, reactivate that, and then it will start to chip.
Yeah, let me grab the ISO container I can show you from last time. Oh, where is it? Actually, it's the wrong one. Hold on. Put it back in its thing.
I think yeah, with lacquers, you get a more realistic worn effect, rather than.
But again, we were sort of playing around with, I must admit, I think going through the show, we did a few other things, but it is this thing. We were chipping around. This is lacquers on this, and messing and crapping around with it all. But you get quite a nice smaller chip section. Then obviously when we did it on this one, this is, I think, Mask Down here, quite thick, and obviously it just comes off in one. It comes off far too easy.
Yeah.
So you need something like down in here where it's sort of really hard work for it to go, so it gets a smaller in scale type of chipping effect.
I think it's all, again, your top coat you are putting over your chipping fluid is how thick you put that on.
Yeah.
If you don't go too heavy, it will chip absolutely fine. If you give it a full 3 coats over the top of the chipping fluid, you ain't going to chip it. It's not going to work. But, you know, that's what you got to be mindful of. But I think that's anything to do with chipping, any paint, whether it's acrylic, lacquered, enamels. I think it's going to work the same way, because you just put too thick a barrier in, you know, over the top of your chipping. So,
and also, like we were saying, if you are using pure lacquer paints, lacquer thinners as well, is that don't let it sit with you underneath for like a couple of weeks, then decide to chip it. You need to chip it within a few hours, because otherwise, obviously, the fluid, your chipping fluid underneath, will just get proper worked in, and obviously the paint goes proper rock hard. But I did that one straight after spraying it because it was dry, being lacquers with rapid thinners. You know, so you've still got a little bit of time you can work with it. Where if you left it overnight and come back, it might be proper hard and quite difficult to chip through.
Yeah,
so
definitely a time variable on it, I think.
Okay, and David says, "Howdy, gents." That's the thing we talk about. We don't need to worry about that, and we don't need to worry about that. Okay. Nigel says, "Evening. Question for Comrade Buller. As a rule of thumb, what colour is generally used for Soviet World War II cockpit interiors? Till now, I've been using AMT7 greenish blue, but is there a better colour?"
Well, I'm going to be honest here.
Dun, dun,
I haven't got a clue, because my interest is like post-war. So I didn't actually have a clue. But our very own Andy, our dictionary corner, had a quick look on Google, and he says there's steel grey, grey green, blue, and grey. The steel grey is what they call A14, which is very close to FS26187. And then they've got a grey green, which they call DC23. The blue is AE14, which is similar to FS25352, which is in the XF23 ballpark, apparently.
Go on, John.
And the grey is DD118, which was used after 1943, which is very close to XF53.
There you go.
It's a good job you wrote all that down, because when he was saying it earlier, I tuned out.
Oh, that was brilliant.
But yeah,
you could have just said, I think off the top, I just read that off. Some notes I've taken are from all over the years.
But yeah, I'm purely like post-war interest in Soviet stuff, so I don't go quite that far back. But I did think they were either like grey or blue, to be honest.
I've got an answer to this. Nigel, just PM Andy, because he did all the research.
I think that's the thing. It just depends on the aircraft. You know, you've got to just do your research on it.
What date built?
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily like a standard colour.
Let's be honest. At the time, the Soviets were chucking them out as fast as they could get them out to save themselves from being conquered. So I don't think they would have really given too.
You know, it's not going to be your cockpit green like the RAF that was, you know.
That'll do. Get it in. Get it into action.
Check it out.
Just before you flick, because you did Nigel's, Steve Little's got a question underneath the first bit about an F-16. And oh god, he's going to chop it up into sections.
Okay, yeah. It says, modify my F-16 with a big, in a big way. Need to cut large sections out. I have a small electric hand drill and a cutting wheel, but making a real mess, like a Cuban in a bath. Okay. What cigar are we talking, or just a Cuban? Okay. I'm not aware of that one. Anyway, is there a way, a fine cutting wheel? To be honest with you, if you're taking chunks out of expensive kit, I like to use a razor saw. because you know where you're going with it. I mark it all with a Sharpie and then start cutting. But that said, I have got, and I do use these, which is these wheels here. Let me move this lot a minute. Which are these. These are these really thin saw ones. And the great thing is they do fit in this. So it just comes off here. And to be honest, this is how I do it. So into there, and you can go around cutting with that one if you wanted to and run it in. And it is very thin, but it doesn't have teeth per se, so it's quite nice. You can literally just go through and just slice through. But the trouble I find using saw ones like this is that it tends to melt their way through instead of cutting. So that's why I prefer a saw blade.
Yeah, I think the trick is it's counterintuitive, but you want a high speed because you don't want it slow, dragging the plastic, because that's what causes the heat and melts it.
Yeah.
But isn't it thingy though, just to take the centres out and then just file it back?
Yeah.
And it where you want to be. Obviously, don't right up to the edge because
never go right up to the edge. That's the thing. Because these ones here, because it's, I don't know who makes these, they're quite common, I think everyone does them, but these have actually got a grit on the sides, so you can go up to the sides and polish in with them as well to get you right up to it, and I have been known to do that. The trouble with these things is, though, if you go too far, it's a bit of a problem, and I usually do. So you either cut too far and you end up, you've got to backfill and fill a cut line or something else like that, or you go too much and then you've got to pack out with perhaps plastic art and stuff. So I always like to do, probably like Matt was saying, is just you can cut an X into the middle of a panel and then cut it roughly out and then just sand in to the areas you want to go. So go in there with like, you know, harder sanders or files and just go in, sand them out, flatten them out, and away you go. As I say, it's one of those things. It might seem a quick job just to zzz, zzz, but it's never that simple, because you always bollocks it up and then you're like, you know, you're trying to fix the mess you've just caused. And that's usually the way I do it. So,
yeah.
So, yes, definitely. Sorry, I missed that one. Anyway, good question. And so where were we then? So
we're on L.
Oh, yeah, we're on Al or A1.
A1.
So, okay. Hi, Phil. Firstly, may I thank Matt and Andy for the saber. Point out the bits. They arrived last Saturday. I have two questions. First, decal solutions attacking the painted finish. If you do not put a clear coat down before decals on the model. Well, this is, again, we're back to drying time, isn't it? If you put, obviously, setting solutions onto paint that isn't fully cured, you can get it go milky and stuff like that. And that's just where it's attacking the paint, because the paint's still a little bit soft. Happens more with acrylics than it does for lacquers, but I've had it happen before. Normally, though, a quick sand over and a quick gloss coat and you're good to go. It tends to get rid of it. But that can happen with clear coats, because, again, you get people and they say about this white ring appears around decals. That used to happen a lot with Future, because the setting solution attacks the surface of the Future, makes it go cloudy. And again, give it another coat of Future, used to kill it off and you were good to go again. But I think that's more to do with, if you're getting any problems with normal setting solution, shall we say, than the really hot type, then it may be you're putting it on too thick, it's sitting on the surface, it's eating its way through over half hour, instead of it being a thin coat which dries off quite quick and does better for the decal. It's better to have lots of thin coats than is a thick coats, like airbrushing. Do we think, John?
Yeah, no, 100% with that. Yeah, definitely. Thin coats.
Nice thin coats with decals.
Many thin coats rather than one thick one.
And it is. It's something I've learned over the last few years now, is like, you know, put down 10 thin coats in the course of an hour, and it works so much better than one heavy one that's still messing around and not doing anything after an hour, you know.
I think like we've discussed before, you've got to think it's a mild acid.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to put a thicker coat on it, you can end up in trouble, aren't you?
Yes, definitely.
Or you potentially could end up in trouble. So, definitely thin coats.
Also, do you wash your model after the decals have set? Sorry, do you wash the model after the decals have set to wash off any decal solutions before clear coating the model? Enjoying your model builds and the shows. Keep up the good work, Alan. I don't. Do you do that?
No. You don't
No.
need to really, do you?
No.
You're going to get yourself a lot more hassle doing that, I think.
I'd be worried about rehydrating the deco when it's sliding off again.
Yeah.
Once it's dry.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't advise that.
No.
I have occasionally gone over a decal with like a soft dry cloth. If there's been a bit of a mark on it or whatever.
Yeah. No. Just out of interest, just Russell saying there, talking of decals, is Sol in yet, Matt?
No.
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 Oh, you've just done it. That's clever. Christ, you did that without even moving your lips.
Do you know what? I did it without moving my hands. Hopefully in the next few weeks it'll be in. We didn't find out quite why it came up on our, let's say, basket as a back order. We got it on back order.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wouldn't work, and then we found out why. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So just keep an eye on the site.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew says, hi Phil and team. I've been watching a review of an airbrush on YouTube. The presenter mentioned that he had a separate airbrush for lacquers, enamels and acrylic paints. I'm currently using my Procon airbrush for both Tamiya lacquers and acrylics, and I've just bought some enamels. I intend to use the same airbrush. I think this airbrush is great, but would hate to be doing anything which was damaging the internals. Can I have yours and the team's thoughts about the above, and you advise on the different types of paints for the same airbrush and flow? Okay, so this is one of those things where if you are a bit of a tart and have loads of airbrushes like Matt,
you can't talk.
All right, okay, and me. Okay, so if you have got like 10 airbrushes, you could in theory have one for, here we go, that's a small collection. You could have one for enamels, you could have one for acrylics, you could have one for lacquers, you could have one just for clear coats, you could have one obviously for doing, something like extreme metals or something, and do it that way. But really, do you need to? No, you just clean them out. At the end of the day, modern airbrushes have Nomax or Teflon, seals and innards into them. There's nothing rubbery which gets affected by lacquers now and various stuff. The whole point is just making sure you clean out your airbrush and you flush it thoroughly through before you obviously switch to a different type of paint. That's really the biggest goal. That said, I tend to use one airbrush for doing all metallic work. So I've got an Iwata HP, whatever it is over there, and I use that solely for doing metallic work, purely because I am not very good at cleaning out my airbrush. So sometimes, and it did happen the other week, when I went to put some black on and ended up with metallic black, because I had silver left over and I had a nice metallic finish. And it was like, no, that's not right. So yeah, that's a lesson learned. So I was trying to be clever and quick. And that's purely because I didn't clean out the airbrush properly. But it would be really nice if you did have like one just for clear coats, because again, you've got no contaminants coming in. So if you haven't cleaned your airbrush 100% and you're spraying a white model, for instance, and you're going to clear coat it, but just before you'd add a bit of black in there and you've got black bits coming out as you're clear coating, but again, that's down to just being, right, going to clean out my airbrush, completely thrush it through, run it through with whatever, thinners, to really get it deep cleaned and have no problems, you're good to go. So again, a little bit, it's nice to have the opportunity and you could just mark each airbrush for doing each job and away you go and you wouldn't have a problem. But as far as the airbrush is concerned, it doesn't care. If you've got a good quality airbrush, it really doesn't have It's just if you have got a few extras, it's quite nice for them for doing different jobs.
Well, yeah, he's got Procon, so he's got a good airbrush. So,
and you have, because to be honest, as I say, the only reason this one's here is because this one had some paint in it earlier today, and I had a light blue in this, and I couldn't be bothered because I knew I was going to need it again. So I thought I'll get the other one out, and this one was doing the blue work, and this one was doing light blue acrylic. But again, it was purely because I couldn't be bothered cleaning out the airbrush. I have to refill it afterwards. So it's nice having two for spraying two colours on the go and doing it that way. But as for using like these, get used for everything. The only one is I got one over there that does just metallics. That's all it does. It just has literally metallic paint through it and nothing else. So if it does have any metallic left over in it, it doesn't matter because it's only going to do metallics. But yes. John, do you?
I've got my Infinity is for metallics, and then I got my Procon and Iwata.
Yeah.
But I think the secret is just get a good cleaning routine. And to be honest, it doesn't take long.
No.
I mean, my iWater, I've had probably, I mean, I bought it second hand. I've had it 3 years and I've never stripped it down.
No.
And it sprays first time, every time. It's just, you know, I mean, admittedly now I do use exclusively lacquers, which, you know, is a bit easier cleaning wise. Just run some lacquer thinner through it, but it literally takes seconds at the end of a spray session.
Yeah.
Or where you're changing colours.
But yeah, you know, as you say, if there's probably people out there and money's really no object, they might go out and buy 4 airbrushes and you've got one for each of them if that's what you wanted to do. But as far as I'm concerned, the airbrush doesn't care. The only thing I would say though is obviously if you've been using like lacquers, and you've been spraying a lot through your airbrush, when you clean it out with lacquer paints and blow it through, before you put in acrylics into it, put in a little bit of acrylic airbrush cleaner just to go soak the cup so it goes around the edges of the colour cup, rinse it through and blow it through your airbrush. So when you are putting acrylics into it, it will just flow very nicely. Because I've done it before and you could see there was residue clearly on the inside of the colour cup because it wouldn't stick to it, for instance. It's like being repelled by it. And I don't think it makes any difference when you get down into the chamber and all the rest of it because it's under pressure and being blown out at whatever PSI. But just from an aesthetics point of view, you can see something's not quite right. It's not happy. But, you know, as I say, it's just clean out your airbrush. Is that the right answer, Matt?
That's absolutely correct.
Just checking. Okay. Righty. Oh, look, next page. Good job you locked this earlier, Matt.
No.
James says, evening team, quick question. Any of you airbrushed life color acrylics? And if so, did you use their own thinner water Vallejo airbrush cleaner or something else? James.
Yes, I have.
Yes, I have.
And I used their own thinner and a touch of flow improver. And it was okay. It can be a bit fiddly to get the
ratios.
You know, the ratios right, thank you. Yes, the ratios right with life colour. But again, it does spray all right. I quite like life colour, to be honest.
Yeah, for obviously people who've been here a long time, you'll know we were almost sponsored by Life Colour at one point. So we had a lot of their stuff here going through, and I struggled with it to start with. And then they sent me their own thinners, and that definitely works very, very well. Their own thinners, because the best way to describe it, probably not the right wording, but it's fragile. It's a very much a acrylic paint. It's a pure acrylic in its form. It's not like these other hybrid things which have got probably horrible chemicals for binders and things like that. It's a very much a water-based paint, so it doesn't like anything chemically anywhere near it. So definitely, when I was using various stuff here, acrylic thinners and stuff, it just didn't like it particularly and didn't work very well. But when I use their thinners, no problem at all.
Yeah.
So yes, so try it with their thinners definitely. Peter says, hi guys, I hope you're all well and thanks for the show. Just wanted to ask on your thought about the Hobbycraft dropping Airfix Humbrol products. This seems to be a bad sign. It cannot really be good for either company and will deny Airfix products a lot of, especially younger modelers who casually purchase these items on when they go to the store. I was wondering if there's been any comment from Airfix. Perhaps Pramjit can give us the story. Don't forget, Pramjit's a designer. He has nothing to do with sales whatsoever. We've spoken to him about various things in the past, and it's like well above his pay grade. But that's the first I've heard of it.
And me.
So
yeah, I didn't know.
Because at one point, a couple of years ago, they dropped Tamiya, wasn't it? Because I went in there to get some Tamiya paint, so it was always quite handy for Tamiya. It didn't have any in there, and I thought they were moving it because they seem to move that store, my store, around every other week. So I asked the lady in there and said about it. She said, "Oh, we're not doing those anymore." And it was like, "Oh, okay." And it did. Over the next couple of weeks, it all disappeared, and then about a year later, it all came back. So I don't know quite what was going on with that one.
I went in ours just before the last lockdown started, and they had Tamiya and Rebel.
Yeah.
I don't think they had a lot of Humbrol stuff then.
I don't know. I've not been in a Hobbycraft for years.
Yes.
So I've got no idea what they sell, to be honest. So
sewing machines. Lots of sewing machines.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, that's a business-related question. It's nothing to do with us. Obviously, there must be reasons. It may be that obviously they're putting, as in hobbycraft, moving into different sections and not moving out of model making. As it can't be good for both companies. Well, one of them has made the decision to do it. It's not a joint decision, I would have thought. But there again, it may be Airfix aren't, they're not selling enough or whatever it is, and they're going to go with different options as well. So it's a business decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
It could be anything, at the end of the day. So I've no idea. It would be one of those which I don't think you'll ever find out the answers to it. But why did they stop doing Tamiya for a while? And then it all suddenly came back. It was like, where's that come from? But
I mean, Ed's just put some over, like Chesterfield store has been getting rid of Airfix Umbro, but Sheffield still has a fair bit in there. Is it different stores are carrying it and some aren't? Or
yeah.
I doubt if Hobbycraft are in trouble. I just think they probably dropped the Airfix Umbro range, or Airfix Umbro dropped Hobbycraft.
As Peter says in there, I can assure you that they've dropped Airfix and Humbrol. So if not being funny, if Hobbycraft have dropped doing it, it could mean they're in trouble. Well, it doesn't make sense if a company's in trouble just to drop brands. It doesn't work like that. Having done liquidations and things in the past.
Oh, well, there you go. Nathan's just I think it's because Airfix has signed a deal with WH Smith.
Oh, well, there you go. That'll be it then.
So that's probably then Humbrol dropping Hobbycraft, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yes.
There you go. Nathan's probably answered that question.
Super sleuth Nathan's got it sorted. So,
how does he know that?
Yeah, he's got an insider with WH Smiths.
He obviously...
He's been Googling it, hasn't he? He's sat in chat Googling it. Between him and Andy, they're sat there behind the scenes like, dictionary corner.
Do you know what? I bet, apart from that, I bet Andy's doing his playing because he hasn't finished it. So I bet he's not watched one bit of his show.
No.
Because if he has, he'll put up in China minute. Yeah, I'm watching it. So if you don't, we know he's not watching it.
Okay, so Mark says, many thanks for all the effort the team puts in. Matt, what do you use to thin Mr. Metal Primer for airbrushing?
You don't airbrush it, you brush it on where you want it and it's already thin.
Yeah.
I won't advise, unless you've actually done a full photo etch kit.
Yes.
Might be different story then, but it's as far as I know, it's an acid etch. You just brush it on where you need it on your metal parts or etch parts or barrels, gun barrels or things like that, but you don't need to put it on the plastic.
So just to cover, because obviously we spoke about this yesterday as well, this stuff is basically a mild acid which attacks the surface of the photo etch or metal part, putting in like micro pitting so the paint gets better adhesion onto it so it doesn't basically peel off and slide off.
I would say so, yes. Unless somebody
knows a better answer. I don't know, I'm just guessing, but I assume that's what it is. But yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And Andy dragged this one across because it was in the wrong place, guys. So make sure you put them in the right place if you can. Michael says, but here's my question. Has he copied this halfway through? There's always a lot of discussion about compressors, but I have never heard anyone mention using a CO2 tank. I've been using one for more than 10 years and have never go back. Does anyone else use one? Or is this something that is harshly regulated in England? I might add that this question that I find a huge advantage on using CO2, dead silent, absolutely perfect for Airstream at all times. The only downside is you can't tell when it's going to run out. All you do is keep picking it up after a while and feel for the weight. Okay, so to be honest with you, I have mentioned it because I used to use one, and we did speak about this when Andy pulled it over earlier, and we did a little bit of research because I used it back in the late 90s. But a friend of mine who was a diver gave me his, I think they call it his auxiliary or backup tank, which is a smaller 6-litre tank. Because it was out of date or whatever it is, or it was like end of life and all those types of things. And I used to get it filled up and I used it quite successfully. But you're saying about you don't know when it's going to run out. Mine had a small little gauge on it, like a fire extinguisher size one. So I could see when it was in the green, goes to yellow and into red. So when it used to get in the yellow, I used to go and get it charged up and go again. But again, same thing, no problem with it whatsoever. It's fine. But like the guys were pointing out, and they did have a fair point, it's great for me because I live next to the sea and diving's huge around here, and you can get them charged up pretty much anywhere. But if you live somewhere, in the Midlands and that, where diving's not very popular, where do you get it charged up?
Depends what kind of diving you're on about.
Well, greenfield diving. But hey, that's the thing, isn't it? So from that. But anyway, we did have a quick look online because I did say I'm well out of the loop. I haven't used it for donkey's years, and we were saying that if you buy the bigger tanks, the full size ones, if you want to dive tanks, they're about 250 quid in the UK for one of those. So if you spent 250 quid on that, and it's 10 quid it costs to refill them each time, you could buy a high-end compressor for that. So
yeah,
why would you? Because obviously with a dive tank, you're paying £10 a time to fill it each time. Whereas obviously if you're just plugging it in and off you go, you don't do it. Yes, Russell, that's exactly what he meant. So that's the thing. It's false economy, isn't it? At the end of the day, you think you saved yourself a bit of money, but you're not. But if you are in a situation where you want a dead silent thing, oh god, they're off now, aren't they? So if you want a dead silent situation for spraying, then a diving tank, absolutely fine with it. You can get little regulators for them that then come off and all the rest of it, and do it that way. But as I said, for the UK, if you are thinking about it, we had a quick look online. You probably buy them second-hand, obviously be cheaper. But to buy a new dive tank is about 250 quid for a 12-litre tank. And then for the normal size one. And then obviously it's 10 quid per refill. And I used to pay £5 for the 6-litre refill each time as well. So, yes, don't know. Anybody else in live chat ever use the dive tank?
Then it's like we said, if you've got, like you had, a second-hand tank and it's past its shelf life, will they refill it when you go to refill it?
Yeah, and so again, we were talking about it just before we came on air. My one, I used to refill at one of these, it's a dive tank charge point in my local marina. And it's like a clothing bank. So you put your tank into it, you fit your regulator onto it and all the rest of it, and then you would lock it shut behind this iron door, put your money in and charge it up, and it beeps when it's done and it lets it out. And we were assuming it's in this huge metal thing in case it does blow up and doesn't take you with it. So that's why they do it in those things. But you have got a point. If you took it to a normal Chandler's or a dive centre or anything else, get to charge it, if it's out of date, I don't think they would. In case, obviously, it does go bang because they're responsible for it. But, so, yes.
It'd make a bit of a mess if it went bang, wouldn't it?
I was going to say, not being funny, we've had this conversation with a 2.5 litre tank or a 5 litre tank going bang. Can you imagine a 12 litre dive tank going off? It'd be like £1,000 bomb going off in your house.
Guys put in chat that you also need to have it inspected once a year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, just buy a compressor. To me,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
just get yourself a compressor.
You can get a silent one or near silent like Andy's for sort of 350 quid.
He's not listening. He's not. Say what you want. He's not listening.
Yeah, you can't hear us over his compressor. It's so bloody loud. So that's the thing. But we've spoken about other things because in the past, when you're young and stupid, we used to use car tires, wasn't it? Blow up a car tire to 60 psi. The thing's really rock hard. That'll do. I'm blowing away with that, and it's great for the first 20 minutes, and then it starts to go, and your pressure starts dropping down the road. 20p.
Oh look, he's awake.
Oh, is he? Oh look, he's still going. Oh no. Where's the middle finger icon? I've banned that. I took it off. So
tolerate that abuse.
You need a tractor tyre.
Yeah.
You used to have a few of them and take them down the river back in the day. So, yes, definitely. But no, again, I think it's a little bit of a false economy. It may be different in the US and all the rest of it, especially, I'm not being funny, if you live next to a dive centre and, I'm not being funny, you're a diver, just use your own air, isn't it? It's like, I've got half a tank, I'll use that tonight. So why not? But the rest of us, pure mortals, it's a bit of a no-goer, really.
Yeah.
So yes, good. That's it. That's questions done.
That's it then. Home time.
That's it. Bedtime. Everyone home. Right, move along, everyone. Come on, let the dogs out.
Here, move along.
There we go. But good questions, everyone. Some good ones tonight, right the way through.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. We will be back with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock for the TFI Friday, where we are going to do, or we're saying it now, but we are going to do some demoing. So me and Matt are going to be on. I'm going to do some demoing.
Well, we have had a discussion, haven't we, Philip, before we go?
We have, yes.
About today's show as well.
The future of the live shows.
Technical tweaks and changes in the future as we are discussing. So nothing drastic, so don't stress out.
We'll still be here, just maybe slightly different type shows and stuff like that.
We're just going to do it from probably 3 till 5 for my working day, so I can actually go home.
So you can go home. He's not stuck at the unit till 10 o'clock at night. So again, it's certain things we've been talking. Obviously, I'm going to speak to the guys about it as well, about a few little bits and pieces for the live shows and the various things, and get them a bit more structured, shall we say. So we do the questions, and also we do a bit more demoing and showing live and various things. So, so tomorrow we're going to be practicing with various things.
What can go wrong?
What can go wrong? It's going to be live. Be a piece of cake.
Exactly.
So
we're still going to do the answer questions and stuff, but we did think we could shake it up a little bit, and perhaps on odd occasions like have a subject that we can talk about.
Absolutely, yes, a talking point. Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely. But anyway, we will be back on. As I say, I have got so much work to do tomorrow. It's unbelievable. Because obviously I've got to get this all edited because I haven't edited any of it. If there is enough for a show, you'll get the next part of this up tomorrow, which will probably cover the engine work and all the rest of it. And then I have made a start, but I say a start. I've done the titles for the actual SIG reveal that finished for the high seas SIG. But if I get it all finished by tomorrow's show is a different matter. Because obviously it's only got till 3 o'clock to get it finished. So I will try and give it a whirl, but tomorrow I'll be editing a lot, I feel, doing this. So I'll get this edited, and then obviously I'll get straight on to doing the reveal as well for all your great work from the High Sea SIG, which obviously finished last week. Cool. So good job. Excellent. Yep. Right. Okie dokie then. Well, if we're done there, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Absolute pleasure as always. Big thank you for John joining us this evening.
Problem.
And obviously to Matt, he's a permanent fixture here now. That's fine. I will be back on with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock live. So until later, everybody, happy modelling. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.